I had a complete knockdown, drag-out argument with someone one time about my daughter and whether she was Christian or not. My daughter had gone to summer camp along with another person's child, and apparently this person's child had called them and said, so-and-so got saved, they got saved, last night around the campfire they got saved, and they asked, is anyone not a Christian or been baptized or whatever, and my daughter raised her hand, and he was so thrilled and so told her mom, and then she conveyed it to me, because they had cell phones and things, and they could communicate quicker than what we were going to be able to. And when she gave me the news, I was just kind of like, knowing that my child the way I know my child, I think it was more of a pressure move. I think if the events went down the way they went down, which was a whole bunch of kids sitting around and the question is asked, who's not been saved or who hasn't been baptized, and nobody holds their hand up, I don't know, it was just a pressure moment. You know, everybody held their hand up but you. Who hasn't been baptized, hold your hand up, you know. And I don't know, and she just kind of got caught up with it all, and I said, I hope so. I hope so. You don't know how much that would mean to me to know that my child has given her life and soul over to Christ, and that she understands what all that means. But I would like to talk to her first before we all get excited and start planning, you know, the baptismal and all this, because she had gotten so excited, and she had already spoke to someone, and we could use their church, and when the baptismal would be free, and we could get it put in the program it, you know. And I was like, calm down, they'll be home in a couple of days, let me talk to her first. And when she came home, it's like what I said. She said it was pressure, like everybody had done it but her, and she was at a church camp, and she just felt like she had to go with the program or they were going to look at her differently from that point on. And I conveyed this to my friend, and she says, well, if she, then let's just forget it, then we won't go any further, and we won't have her talk to anyone or anything. But I had to let you know that when I thought she was my sister in the eyes of the Lord, then there was a love that I had for her that I do not have now. And I said, you're talking about a 10-year-old child. And she says, yes, but once you get baptized and you get saved and you give yourself over, then there's a bond. And I said, you know what, I totally get you. But something that's kind of aggravating about that whole line that you just gave me is being Christian is accepting of others, and being Christian is when you reach out and you hold someone tighter and you hug them tighter and you love them tighter than you ever did before. And if you've got a little girl teetering on the edge of am I not, and you've got all these other worldly influences coming in here that could sway her, now's not the time to say, well, I will treat her differently, I will turn away from her, I'm not going to really have anything to do with her or treat her in such a manner. I mean, she wasn't going to abuse her or be mean to her or anything like that, but because she's not, you know, my sister, we don't have this bond. And I said, that's ridiculous. This ought to be when you wrap her up in your arms even more and love her more. This is when you should reach out even more. This is when, I understand the bond is not there, but isn't our job as Christians to spread the word and try to bring more to Christ and not shun someone? And you've got someone here, especially a child, teetering. And I just had a knockdown, drag out. It just, I got where they were coming from, and I think they got where I was coming from, but we still weren't going to accept it. And I was just quite irritated that, they already had a tub full of water and was ready to dunk her, and I wanted to talk a little more to her and make sure she understood what was going on. Not try to talk her out of it, but make sure she understood, because it doesn't mean anything if it's not true from the heart, you know. You can say words all day long, but there has to be the meaning and the understanding behind it for it to mean something, and that's the only point I was trying to get to. And to say that almost she would be shunned, not shunned, but just not embraced as much as she would have. I said, this is when you should embrace her more. You know, that's what we should do, is embrace her more. So, but the person's still a very cool person, and everybody has a right to their opinion, and we worked out our differences of opinions, and rock on. So I'm not going to tell you whether my daughter ever got saved or not, because she's asked for me to keep that private. So, anyway, Hope everybody's having a beautiful day. Peace. Rock out.